You know that sound, right? The sharp clack of the letterbox and that soft thud of a letter hitting the doormat. We've all felt that little jolt of anxiety when we see it, that brown envelope. You just know it's almost certainly from one place, HM Revenue and Customs.
So, your heart's probably pounding a little bit, and your mind starts racing. Is it a demand, a penalty? Did I mess something up? Look, before you spiral, just take a deep breath. You're in exactly the right place. Because that feeling of panic, we're about to replace it with a clear, step-by-step plan. Okay, let's get into it. Now, to make sure we're getting this absolutely right, we're going to be following a framework put together by the real experts at Pro Tax Accountant. These guys live and breathe the UK tax system, and they've mapped out a clear path to take you from that moment of dread to feeling like you're back in control.
So, here's the plan. It's a simple 5-step journey. First, we're going to make sure that letter is even real. Then we'll dig into the numbers. After that, we'll cover your rights and those super important deadlines. Then we'll look at what to do next before wrapping it all up with your final action plan. Simple and logical.
Right, first things first. Before you even think about the tax, we have to answer one massive question. Is this letter actually from HMRC? Scammers are getting so clever these days, their fakes can look scarily real, so this first check is your absolute first line of defense.
Okay, have a look at this. When you see them side by side, the differences are pretty clear. A real letter will always have your 10-digit unique taxpayer reference, your UTR. It'll be formal, and it will only have a point you to the official gov.uk website. Scammers, on the other hand, they love to use fear, so you'll see urgent, scary language, things like immediate arrest, and they'll often ask for your bank details over email or text, which is a massive red flag.
And honestly, if you remember one thing, make it this. This is the golden rule. HMRC will never email or text you about a tax rebate, and they will never ask for your personal payment info that way. If you see it, it's a scam. Full stop. It's that simple, and knowing it could save you a fortune.
So here's a pro tip. If you get one of these scam messages, don't just delete it. Report it. It actually helps HMRC shut these criminals down. You can forward dodgy emails to phishing@hmrc.gov.uk and text to 6599. But the most important thing is to never ever use a phone number or a link from a letter you're not sure about. Always go to the official gov.uk website yourself to find the real contact detail.
All right, you've confirmed the letter's genuine. Phew. But now that initial worry comes creeping back when you look at the number they say you owe. Your first instinct might be to just pay up and make the problem disappear. You have to fight that urge. Don't you dare pay a single penny until you've done a bit of detective work.
To make this a bit more real, let's imagine someone. Let's call her Sarah. She's a freelance consultant living in London. A letter from HMRC lands on her doormat demanding £2,500. Naturally, she's stressed out. But instead of panicking, Sarah's going to follow our plan. Let's see how she does it.
Sarah's plan is broken down into 3 easy, manageable steps. First, she's going to dig out her own paperwork. Second, she'll use HMRC's online tools to double-check everything. And third, she'll just make sure all her personal details are actually correct on HMRC's system. So let's start with the paperwork. This right here is the most important check you can do. You need to find the taxable income figure on the HMRC letter and compare it with the year-to-date figure on your final payslip of that tax year, or even better, on your P60. Think of those documents as the source of truth for what you earned. If those numbers don't line up, you probably just found your problem. And as you're digging through your numbers, here's a key figure to have in your head for the 2025 to 2026 tax year. The standard personal allowance is £12,570. That's the amount of money you can earn before you start paying any income tax at all. It's the foundation of the whole calculation, so you need to be sure they've applied it correctly for you. But that's not all, and here's where a lot of people get stuck. What if you look at your P60 and that's wrong? Well, here's the thing. Only the employer who gave you the P60 can fix it. You can't, and HMRC can't either. Not at first. You have to get in touch with your payroll department and ask for a new one, which has to be clearly marked as amended or corrected. This is such a crucial step if your main document is wrong to begin with.
So, you've checked the facts and you're pretty sure HMRC has made a mistake. Great, but now you need to know the rules of the game. This is all about what you're entitled to do, and more importantly, the deadlines you have to stick to. Now stay with me here. This next bit is what separates a successful appeal from one that gets thrown out.
And this is why it's so important. The clock starts ticking from the date on the letter, not from when you opened it. For most things like a P800 tax calculation or a penalty, you've only got 30 days to formally appeal. If you've got something called a simple assessment, that's a PA302, you get a bit more breathing room, 60 days. So check the top of your letter and see what you've got.
Now, here's a really useful tool you should know about. When you submit an appeal, you can also ask for something called payments postponement. It's a formal request that basically pauses HMRC from chasing you for the money while your appeal is being looked at. It's a powerful move, but just be aware, if you end up losing the appeal, interest will have been racking up on that amount in the background.
Okay, deep breath. We've authenticated the letter, we've checked the numbers, and we know our rights. Now it's time to actually do something. And this brings you to a fork in the road. You really have two main choices. You either dispute the bill because you think it's wrong, or you agree it's right, but you need some help to pay it. Let's break down those two paths. If you disagree, the first thing you have to do is get that formal appeal in within your 30 or 60-day window. If your case is a bit complicated, you could look into something called Alternative Dispute Resolution, or ADR. It's kind of like mediation, and it's usually way faster and cheaper than a tribunal. Now, on the other hand, if the bill's correct but you just can't afford it, you have to contact HMRC right away. Don't bury your head in the sand. Ask them for a time-to-pay arrangement, but you need to be ready to give them a full picture of your finances.
And here's something really important that a lot of people just don't know about. HMRC has a duty of care. So if you're finding it hard to deal with them because of a health issue, a bereavement, or any other tough personal situation, you can ask for their extra support service. It's a specialist team and they can give you more time, a dedicated person to talk to, and generally a more understanding approach. All you have to do is ask to be transferred when you call any of their main helplines.
So we've gone through a lot, haven't we? But we've traveled from that initial gut punch of panic to having a proper, logical plan. The whole point of this is to put you back in the driver's seat, to turn that anxiety into a clear, confident strategy.
So let's just boil it all down into one final 5-step checklist. Number 1, authenticate. Is this thing even real? 2, verify. Do the numbers match what you've got? 3, know your deadlines. Have you got 30 days or 60? 4, choose your path. Are you fighting this, or do you need a plan to pay? And finally, number 5, and maybe the most important of all, if you feel out of your depth at any point, get some expert help. You really don't have to do this on your own.
We've given you a solid plan for dealing with this one letter, but it does bring up a bigger question, doesn't it? This letter is all about the past. Maybe this is a good moment to stop being reactive and start being proactive. How sure are you that your tax record is totally clean and accurate for the years ahead?
Now, just before we wrap up, it is really important for me to say that everything we've talked about today is for general guidance. Everyone's tax situation is different, so you should always chat with a qualified professional before you make any big financial decisions. And for that expert personalized advice, you can get in touch with a team who helped put this whole guide together, Pro Tax Accountant. The details are right there on the screen. You can reach them on WhatsApp or by phone at 07985688912 or just drop them an email at info@protaxaccountant.co.uk. Thanks so much for joining me, and don't forget to subscribe for more clear, helpful guides just like this one.